Daniel opened his eyes slowly. His body felt heavy, his chest tight, and his head full of strange voices. The air smelled sharp, like metal and smoke. His mind tried to remember the last thing, yes, cryosleep, the mission, the ship. But this was not his ship. Somewhere close, voices whispered in a language he did not know. The words were wet and heavy, not human at all. Then clear words in English echoed in his ear. You'll be comfortable. Don't resist. Comfortable? Daniel's body shivered. The voice did not sound like a promise. It sounded like a threat. Two shadows moved in front of him. They were tall, with long arms that bent the wrong way. Their eyes glowed yellow in the dark. Without another word, they grabbed him and dragged him forward. His legs shook, still weak from sleep. He wanted to fight, but his muscles refused. The doors opened. A sudden light burned his eyes. He was pushed inside a massive hall. Daniel froze. The room was full. Dozens of figures turned to look at him. Some had green skin, some had silver scales, and some looked almost human but with strange marks across their faces. Their eyes followed him with hunger, with curiosity, with something he could not name. And then he realized. Most of them were women. Alien women. The hall was decorated like a palace with high walls and glowing crystals, but it felt more like a prison. High above he could see cameras blinking red. Someone, somewhere, was watching him. One of the alien women stepped forward. Her hair was dark blue and her eyes like fire. She smiled, but her teeth were sharp, too sharp. You are the new one, she said in broken English. Her voice was smooth, but it made Daniel's skin crawl. You are the bridegroom. Daniel's heart stopped. Bridegroom? The crowd began to whisper. Laughter, growls, strange clicks and hisses. The sound filled the room like a storm. Daniel tried to speak, but his throat was dry. What is this place? The woman only smiled wider. A room of choices. She stepped back and suddenly more women moved closer. Some of them looked soft and kind, others dangerous and wild. Their eyes locked on him as if he was prey. Daniel's soldier training screamed in his mind, observe. Stay calm, survive. He noticed details. One had claws hidden under her sleeves. Another had strange tubes running from her neck to her chest. A third one carried a glowing stone in her hand. This was no simple meeting. This was something else. Then a voice whispered close to his ear. He spun around, but no one was there. The whisper came again, soft and dangerous. Choose carefully, or you die tonight. Daniel's blood turned cold. His eyes darted around the room, but every alien face stared back at him, waiting, hungry, silent. The doors behind him closed with a loud hiss. He was trapped. And for the first time, Daniel realized the truth. This was not a welcome. This was a test. The silence in the hall was heavy. Daniel's breath echoed in his own ears. The alien women did not move, yet their eyes followed him with sharp attention, like hunters watching a weak animal. Daniel forced his legs to stand firm. He had been a soldier. He had faced combat, war zones, even death. But this was something else. He was unarmed, outnumbered, and surrounded by beings he did not understand. The blue-haired alien woman raised her hand. Instantly, the others stepped back, forming a wide circle around him. Her smile stayed sharp. Tonight, she said, you stay here, with us. Her words were simple, but Daniel caught the hidden edge in them. It was not an offer. It was a command. He scanned the circle. Some women looked calm, others restless. One creature with glowing red skin licked her lips. Another with long silver hair tilted her head as if she was already planning something. Daniel's instincts screamed. He was in danger, not tomorrow, not later. Tonight. The lights in the room dimmed, leaving only the glow of the crystals. The women began to move slowly, each in their own way. Some sat down, watching him like predators waiting. Others crept closer, their bodies swaying unnaturally. Daniel's chest tightened. He wanted to shout, but his soldier's mind told him to wait. Every eye was on him. If he panicked, he would lose. He remembered training. Study the enemy before striking. He noticed details. The red-skinned one's movements were fast but unsteady. The silver-haired one's pupils narrowed like a snake's whenever she looked at him. The blue-haired leader, her gaze never left him, cold and calculating. One of them broke the silence. She was tall, with markings glowing across her arms. Her voice was soft, almost kind. Human, she said, choose your place. Who will you sit beside? The circle grew tighter. Their eyes burned. Daniel swallowed. Sit beside one? Was this a test, a trap? His eyes flicked to the walls. Cameras blinked. Whoever was watching wanted to see what he would do. He stood tall, forcing his voice steady. "I'll stand," the circle stirred. A ripple of whispers spread through them. Some laughed, others hissed, one even growled low in her throat. The blue-haired leader tilted her head, amused. "Brave," she said, "but standing forever is not easy." Daniel's legs felt weak, but he locked his knees. He would not kneel. Not here. Hours passed, or maybe only minutes. It was impossible to tell. The aliens did not sleep. They simply watched. Every time Daniel's eyes closed, he felt one of them move closer. He jerked awake again and again, heart racing. Then suddenly a shadow leaned close to his ear. "Human," a voice whispered. It was different, secret, urgent. "Do not trust the Queen. She will kill you before dawn." Daniel spun around, but the circle looked the same. Every alien sat still, staring, unmoving. Had he imagined it, or had one of them warned him? The crystals flickered. A low hum filled the room, and the doors behind him sealed tighter with a hiss. Daniel realized something chilling. This was only the first night, and if he made the wrong move, it would also be his last. Daniel's body ached. He had not slept, not even for a second. Every time his eyelids grew heavy, a sound pulled him awake. Soft footsteps, quiet laughter, the scrape of claws against the floor. The alien women never closed their eyes. They just stared. At last, the blue-haired leader rose. Her movement was graceful but sharp like a blade. "Human," she said, "your first trial begins." Trial. The word sank deep into Daniel's chest. The circle broke apart, and a pathway opened. The women stepped aside, their faces unreadable. Daniel felt his throat tighten as he walked forward. He was not guided, not forced, yet he knew if he refused, he would not live to see another sunrise. The pathway led him into a smaller chamber. The walls glowed faintly, lined with more of the red cameras. On the floor were strange markings, circles and symbols carved into the metal. 3 women entered with him. One was the red-skinned alien who had licked her lips earlier. Another was the silver-haired one with snake-like eyes. The third was small, almost human-looking, her skin pale and her hands trembling. Daniel's fists clenched. This was no random choice. Each of them was different, deadly, cunning, or weak. The blue-haired leader's voice boomed from above. "Listen well, human. You must choose. One of these 3 will share the night with you. Refuse to choose and you both die. Choose wrongly and only you die." The chamber went silent. Daniel's heart pounded. This wasn't about marriage. It wasn't about comfort. It was a game. A cruel one. The red-skinned woman grinned. "Pick me, little soldier. I'll keep you warm." Her voice dripped with hunger. The silver-haired one tilted her head, her pupils narrowing. "Choose me. I offer protection. Others fear me." The small one whispered, her eyes wide with fear. Don't pick me, please. They'll kill us both." Daniel's mind raced. This was a trap, but he had faced traps before. He studied them carefully. The red-skinned one was too eager, too ready. The silver-haired one's confidence was dangerous. And the small one, was she weak or pretending? His instinct screamed again, "Observe!" The answer is hidden in the details. Then something strange. He saw a tiny reflection in the camera above. The red-skinned woman's claws twitched whenever the leader's voice spoke. The silver-haired one's eyes glowed when she stood in the marked circle. And the small one? She trembled, but her gaze flicked toward Daniel, quick, sharp, almost like a warning. This wasn't just about survival. It was about understanding the rules of the game. He took a step forward. Every woman leaned closer, waiting. The air grew heavy, the silence sharp. Daniel raised his voice steady and clear. "I choose." The lights above flickered violently. A siren blared. The floor shook under his feet. From the shadows, another voice whispered into his ear. "Do not play their game. Escape." Daniel froze. His blood turned to ice. That voice wasn't alien, it was human. The siren faded, but the echo of that human voice stayed in Daniel's ears. He looked around the chamber, but the alien women only stared back, confused and angry. They had not heard it. Only he had. The blue-haired leader's voice cracked through the speaker above. "Enough, the trial is delayed. Return him to the hall." The red-skinned woman hissed, baring her claws. The silver-haired one's snake-like eyes narrowed. The small, trembling one gave Daniel one last quick look. Fear mixed with something else before she disappeared into the shadows with the others. 2 guards dragged Daniel back to the hall and pushed him into a corner. The doors locked with a heavy sound. Daniel leaned against the wall, his chest tight. That voice? A human voice. It was impossible. Unless, soldier. The word came faint like a ghost. Daniel froze. His eyes scanned the hall. The alien women were distracted, whispering among themselves. The voice came again, low and urgent. Soldier, don't look around. Just listen, Daniel's heart pounded. The voice was clear now, female, steady but tired. Who are you? Daniel whispered, his lips barely moving. I'm Sarah, the voice answered. I've been here longer than you. I'm hidden in the walls. They don't know I survived. Daniel's mind raced. Another human? His survivor? That changed everything. Sarah's voice was calm but filled with warning. Listen carefully. This isn't a marriage test. It's an experiment. They're studying us. They want to see how humans adapt under fear, pressure, and temptation. Daniel clenched his fists. He had suspected as much, but hearing it confirmed chilled his blood. They've brought humans here before, Sarah continued. None survived past the second trial. The words cut deep. He thought of the trembling woman in the chamber. A trap, all of it, Daniel whispered. Why me? Why are they doing this? Sarah's voice dropped lower. Because humans are different. We're not the strongest, not the fastest. But we adapt. We find ways to win when others fail. That scares them and excites them. Her words echoed in Daniel's chest. She was right. He had seen it on the battlefield. Humans surviving where logic said they should die. They want to use us, Sarah said, to breed with us, to mix our strength with their own. But most of all, they want to know if we break, or if we fight. Daniel's jaw tightened. His body was tired, but his spirit burned hotter. Then we fight. Sarah's laugh was quiet, bitter. I thought the same once, but it's not that easy. These women, they're not just brides. Some are soldiers, some are killers, and some are prisoners just like us. Daniel's eyes widened. That explained the trembling one. Find allies, Sarah whispered. But be careful. The wrong choice means death. Before Daniel could answer, a shadow fell across him. One of the alien women stood near, her eyes sharp. Talking to yourself, human? She hissed. Daniel forced a thin smile. Old soldier habit. The woman sneered but moved away. Sarah's voice whispered once more, fading into silence. Stay alive, soldier. The second trial begins soon, and it's always a blood trial. Daniel's stomach turned cold. The game wasn't just survival anymore. It was war. The hall shook as the floor split apart. A deep rumble spread through the walls, and glowing lines crawled across the ground like veins of fire. The alien women rose from their seats, their eyes burning with excitement. The blue-haired leader stood tall at the center. Her voice carried through the chamber, cold and sharp. Human. Second trial. Blood trial. Daniel's stomach tightened, but his face stayed calm. Soldiers were trained for fear. Soldiers lived with it. 2 guards dragged him toward the open floor. The ground lowered like an elevator, carrying him into a vast underground arena. The walls shimmered with metal, the ceiling high and dark. Above, the alien women leaned over the railings, watching like a crowd hungry for blood. The arena floor was bare. No weapons. No shields. Just empty sand and stone. Daniel clenched his fists. He already knew this test was not designed to be fair. A heavy gate opened. From the shadows, 3 alien women stepped forward. He recognized them, fighters. One with bone spikes along her arms. Another with glowing marks across her skin. And the last, a massive figure with armored scales and burning eyes. The crowd roared. Daniel's heartbeat thundered in his chest, but his mind was steady. He could not outmatch their strength. He could not outshine their speed. But he could outthink them. The spiked woman charged first, her arms swinging like blades. Daniel rolled to the side, the strike missing him by inches. Dust filled his lungs, but he kept moving. His eyes caught the pattern. Her spikes slowed her swing, heavy and clumsy. He shouted, taunting. Too slow. Her anger grew. She swung wildly, faster, without aim. Daniel dodged again and again, leading her toward the stone wall. When she struck, the spike cracked against the wall, splintering. She screamed in pain. The crowd gasped. Daniel didn't waste time. He kicked her leg out, sending her crashing to the ground. He didn't kill her, but she stayed down, clutching her arm. The second fighter moved. The one with glowing marks. She circled him, her body lit like fire, faster than the first. Daniel's eyes narrowed. Every time she moved, the ground sparked. Energy, unstable, dangerous. He slowed his breathing, waiting. She lunged, hands glowing, aiming for his chest. At the last second, Daniel stepped aside. Her strike hit the sand, exploding in light. The ground cracked. She stumbled. Daniel grabbed a handful of broken stone and threw it at her face. She screamed, blinded for a moment. He swept her legs, knocking her down. The crowd roared louder. Only one fighter remained, the giant armored woman. Her steps shook the ground. Her eyes burned with fury. Daniel's chest heaved. His body was weak, bruised, but his mind burned sharper than ever. The armored woman swung a fist the size of his head. Daniel barely rolled aside, the impact shaking the arena. He knew he couldn't fight her directly. Not head-on, he circled her, studying. The armor was thick everywhere except her joints. Elbows, knees, neck. She roared, charging again. Daniel ducked low, grabbing a broken spike from the sand, the shard from the first fighter. He thrust it upward into the giant's knee joint. The alien screamed, collapsing to one side. The arena shook with shouts, gasps, and alien cries. Daniel stood tall, chest heaving, blood dripping down his arm. Above, the blue-haired leader's eyes narrowed. Her smile faded, she whispered to herself, but Daniel caught it. This human is too dangerous. The arena doors slammed shut behind Daniel. His body trembled with exhaustion, but his mind stayed sharp. The taste of sand and blood lingered in his mouth. He had survived again, but at what cost? Above, the alien crowd had not cheered his victory. They had watched in silence, unsettled, whispering to each other. Daniel saw the truth in their faces. He was no longer entertainment. He was a problem. 2 guards dragged him back to the holding hall. They shoved him against the cold wall and left without a word. The blue-haired leader's voice echoed faintly from the ceiling. Rest, human, tomorrow. The final ceremony. Her tone was soft, almost sweet, but Daniel heard the hidden blade inside it. Final ceremony did not mean celebration. It meant execution. As the hall grew quiet, Sarah's voice came again, soft through the walls. You did more than survive, soldier. You made them afraid. Daniel closed his eyes, his breath heavy. Fear doesn't win wars. We need a plan. There was silence for a moment, then Sarah whispered, I've been planning for months. I know the halls, the guard routes, even the power lines. But I can't do it alone. You might be the first human strong enough to lead. Daniel frowned. And the brides? They're not all loyal to the queen. Some looked like prisoners. You noticed, Sarah said. Yes, not all of them want this life. Some were stolen, promised freedom, then trapped. They hate the system as much as we do. If you reach them, some will join us. Daniel thought of the trembling woman from the first trial. The look in her eyes, it wasn't weakness. It was warning. Then we don't just escape, Daniel whispered. We break the system. Sarah's voice sharpened. Careful. Many tried before. All died. Daniel opened his eyes. His soldier's fire burned again. Then we won't try. We'll do. The sound of footsteps made him stop. One of the alien women approached. Her face was hidden under a hood, her skin pale under the glow of crystals. She looked around, cautious, before leaning close. You fought well, she whispered. Stronger than most, Daniel stared. And who are you? Her eyes darted nervously. A prisoner like you. We are not all loyal to her. Some of us want freedom. The queen keeps us here as tools, as trophies. Help us and we'll help you. Before Daniel could answer, another alien woman hissed from across the hall. The hooded one quickly stepped back, blending into the shadows. Sarah's voice whispered fast, urgent. That was no trap. She's real. If you can win her trust, more will follow. You could turn the brides into an army. Daniel exhaled slowly. An army of brides. The idea was insane, but insanity was better than waiting for death. Above, the blue-haired queen watched through the cameras, her sharp smile returning. She spoke softly, but her words carried across the halls. Tomorrow the human becomes the final husband. Daniel's fists clenched. He knew what that meant. Marriage was only a mask. Behind it waited control or death. But if Sarah was right, tomorrow could also be the beginning of rebellion. The hall had changed. The crystals glowed brighter, banners hung from the walls, and the alien crowd filled the seats above. But this was no celebration. It felt like a funeral. Daniel stood in the center, chains around his wrists. His body ached from the blood trial, but his mind burned sharper than ever. The air tasted of smoke and fear. The blue-haired queen stepped forward, dressed in silver armor that shimmered like water. Her eyes glowed with cold fire as she raised her hand. Today, she said, her voice echoing across the chamber. The human becomes the final husband. He will kneel. He will obey. And if he refuses, he dies, the crowd cheered. But Daniel heard something else, whispers among the brides. He saw them shift uneasily, glancing at one another, their eyes flicking toward him. Seeds of rebellion ready to grow. Sarah's voice reached him faintly from the walls. Now, soldier, if you wait, you die. If you strike, they might follow. The queen walked closer, her smile sharp. She lifted a crown of black stone. Kneel, human! Daniel's chains rattled as he raised his head. His voice rang out strong. I kneel to no one. Gasps filled the hall. The queen's smile broke, her eyes narrowing. Then you die. The guards moved in, but Daniel acted first. With a violent pull, he snapped the weakened chain Sarah had guided him to file down the night before. The metal cracked loud as thunder. He swung the broken chain into a guard's face, sending him crashing to the floor. The hall exploded into chaos. The hooded bride from before rushed forward, tearing off her cloak. Her pale skin glowed under the light. Now, she shouted. For freedom. Other brides followed, rising from the circle. Some attacked the guards, claws and fire blazing. Others shielded Daniel, forming a wall around him. The queen roared, her armor shifting like liquid metal. She leapt at Daniel with inhuman speed. Her blade-like arm slashed across the floor where he had stood a second before. Daniel rolled, grabbing the broken spike he had hidden in his belt. You wanted a husband? He shouted. You got a soldier. He struck at the joints of her armor, just like he had with the giant in the arena. Sparks flew. The queen hissed, her body twisting with rage. Above, the alien crowd panicked. Some screamed, others tried to flee. The cameras flickered and sparked. Sarah had cut the power lines from inside the walls. Daniel's allies pressed harder. Brides once prisoners now fought side by side with him. The guards were overwhelmed. The queen staggered, her armor cracked. She glared at Daniel with fury. You think you've won? You are still just one man, Daniel's voice thundered back. One man is enough to start a war. With a final strike, he drove the spike into her chest. The queen screamed, her body collapsing in a burst of light. The hall went silent. Daniel stood tall, bruised and bleeding, but alive. Around him, the surviving brides stared with wide eyes, not at a prisoner, but at a leader. Sarah's voice came through the silence, steady and proud. They wanted a husband. Instead, they found a conqueror. Daniel raised his fist high. The hall shook with cries, not of fear, but of rebellion. The war had just begun.